Okay, we are now in Unit 7 in Code.org's Computer Science Principles 2023-24 curriculum. We're going to learn about parameters, functions with parameters, running a return, and the use of libraries. So this video is just going to be a quick overview of Lesson 1. I'm skipping over the pre-unit POLTs, and I'm just going to jump to the check for understanding question just to kind of explain that. So it will show the answer, unfortunately, right when I open. That's not the point of this. The point is to explain why the answer is what it is, and good, it's hidden. Okay, so at this point, we should know functions inside and out. So we know that we can create functions. We can name them pretty much anything we want, as long as it's not a reserved name, as long as we follow proper naming conventions. So what we have down here is a function called numbers. And up to this point, after we create a function, we've had that open and close parentheses that I'm sure plenty of you are wondering, why do we have to do that? That is so tedious. It makes no sense. Well, that is so that once we learned how to use parameters, we could plug them in. So in a nutshell, my way of explaining what a parameter is a variable in a function definition, is the best way I can explain it. So when we create a function called numbers, we want this function to work given any two numbers that we might want to use. So when we create the function, we use a variable num1 and a variable num2. Now, in this instant, we're not having to create a variable with a VAR code. It is understood when we do this that that's what will be pulled. So we have a variable called answer that is created locally. And from this point forward, pretty much every function we make that uses variables, we probably want to start, when at all possible, making those variables local, so that we can also use these functions in a library when we learn about that. So we create the variable answer, then we update answer to get number 1 plus number 2. Then answer gets that answer plus num1 again, and then we have a return. What the return does is it allows you to call a function and output a value. In the different programming languages, I hope I'm getting this right, there's generally a difference between a function and a procedure. JavaScript and code.org, we don't really differentiate, but for example, in Python, I may be saying this backward, but I believe in Python, a function returns a value, a procedure is just a list of steps. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that is the case. So in this case, when we see the return, 1, that ends a function, but 2, it will produce a tangible output. So what we're going to do in the console log is we are calling the function named numbers. Now at this point, we are using 3 and 2. The terminology there is an argument. An argument passes through a parameter. So when we created the function, we wanted it to have flexibility so that we could call the function with any two numbers, and these two numbers would be, so basically you're plugging and chugging, to quote my old math teacher. So everywhere there's a num1, or to start with at least, we're plugging in 3. So what we're going to do is run this function, but we're going to use 3 for num1 and 2 for num2. So when we run this, we create answer. Answer gets num1 plus num2. So 3 plus 2, answer is 5. Okay, this next line, 5 plus num1. So 5 plus 3 would be 8. And then we're going to return answer times number 2, or num2. So 8 times 2 would be 16. And we have the correct answer. Alrighty, so that is lesson 1. We will move on to lesson 2 in the next video.